Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. Please subscribe and keep watching more details. Jason Duggar breaks the rules with Maddie Grace Jones. Jason Duggar and Maddie Grace Jones aren't afraid to pose together or show their adoration. This is a new thing for any Duggar sibling, but unsurprisingly, it is a Duggar son who is breaking Jim Bob Duggar's courting rules. The Counting On star debuted his girlfriend a few months ago, and it seems things could be getting very serious between the couple. He was an usher at Janet Duggar's wedding earlier this month, and Jason brought Maddie Grace as his plus one. Not much is known about Maddie Grace or how she and Jason met, but it looks like they are prepping followers for them to be the next couple heading down the aisle. Jason Duggar breaks the rules with Maddie Grace Jones. Jason Duggar and Maddie Grace Jones aren't afraid to pose together or show their adoration. This is a new thing for any Duggar sibling, but unsurprisingly, it is a Duggar son who is breaking Jim Bob Duggar's courting rules. The Counting On star debuted his girlfriend a few months ago, and it seems things could be getting very serious between the couple. He was an usher at Janet Duggar's wedding earlier this month, and Jason brought Maddie Grace as his plus one. Not much is known about Maddie Grace or how she and Jason met, but it looks like they are prepping followers for them to be the next couple heading down the aisle. Based on the most recent photos of the couple, we wouldn't be surprised if she may already have a ring. Jason Duggar sweeps Maddie Grace Jones off her feet. It's only been a few months since Jason Duggar soft-launched his relationship with Maddie Grace Jones. He took her to Janet Duggar's wedding and shared some snaps on Instagram of the whirlwind experience. Jason captioned the share, "Congratulations, Gianna and Stephen. We are so excited for you guys." The first image in the carousel was of the couple posing with Gianna and Stephen Wisman, similar to the one James Duggar shared earlier this month. In the second photo, Jason and Maddie Grace posed for a sweet photo with her hand in his. She wore a sleeveless dress, which was low-cut by Duggar standards. Finally, the couple posed as if they were dancing and he was dipping her. It was a very romantic shot, with him appearing to be going in for a kiss. Jason Duggar and Janet Duggar are incredibly close. It wasn't surprising to learn that Jason Duggar was an usher at Janet Duggar's wedding. He has a very close relationship with his big sister, as she was the head of his buddy team growing up. Jason was the first child she was responsible for at just 10, with Jackson and Josie Duggar rounding out the group. Over the years, he has come out to defend his sister when necessary, and James Duggar has been there to support them both. Jason was spotted with Gianna hanging out on several occasions, including when they would take trips to Silver Dollar City or to visit Jinger Duggar and Jeremy Vullo in Los Angeles. Gianna appears to approve of Maddie Grace, and given the two couples posed together for wedding photos, it seems there is more to their relationship. In the quiet corners of Northwest Arkansas, the Duggar family had always followed a path of strict Christian values, raising their children in a world where purity, faith, and family reigned supreme. The spotlight had been on them for years due to their show, 19 Kids and Counting, and even after its cancellation, the Duggars remained a topic of fascination. Yet, as the years passed, some members of the family began to push back against the strict expectations that had defined their upbringing. Among them, Jason Duggar, typically the quieter, more reserved sibling, was beginning to show signs of rebellion. And at the center of his unexpected defiance, a girl named Maddie Grace Jones. Maddie was a free spirit, the kind of girl who believed in living life on her terms. Raised in a more liberal family, she had been homeschooled, like Jason, but her world was far more open to ideas and experiences outside of the strict boundaries Jason had always known. They met through mutual friends at a volunteer event in Fayetteville. Maddie was different from the girls Jason typically encountered, bold, confident, and unafraid to challenge the status quo. And Jason was drawn to her like a moth to a flame. Jason Duggar wasn't the typical rebel child in the sense most might expect. He wasn't brash or confrontational, but something about Maddie made him want to experience life beyond the Duggar family rules. They started seeing each other casually, sneaking conversations late at night through text messages and meeting for coffee in town, activities that were strictly off-limits with avid chaperone in the Duggar world. Maddie wasn't trying to lead Jason astray, but she encouraged him to question why he lived the way he did. Why couldn't they talk freely? Why couldn't they spend time together alone? What harm was there in getting to know someone without parental supervision? For Jason, these questions struck a chord deep within him. He had always felt loyal to his family's values, but as he spent more time with Maddie, he realized he wasn't entirely comfortable with the rigid framework he'd grown up in. He began to wonder if courting with chaperones and avoiding physical contact until marriage were really the only ways to build a relationship. He and Maddie hadn't done anything too wild. They hadn't even kissed, but the thrill of being alone with her, of talking about life, dreams, and faith, without a Duggar chaperone looming over them, made him feel alive in a way he hadn't before. The more time they spent together, the more Jason started bending the rules. He didn't tell his parents about Maddie, even though in the Duggar household, secrecy was practically forbidden. Honesty and transparency, especially about romantic relationships, were essential tenets of their family life. But Jason kept quiet. He wasn't ready to share Maddie with his family, knowing the inevitable barrage of questions, expectations, and potential disapproval that would follow. One Saturday afternoon, Jason and Maddie took things a step further. They decided to drive to Devil's Den State Park, a beautiful area known for its hiking trails and scenic views. It was an innocent enough outing. No one would bat an eye at two friends going for a hike. But for Jason, it felt like a monumental act of rebellion. They were alone, far from the watchful eyes of his parents or siblings, with no set agenda or looming curfew. It was just the two of them and the open sky. As they walked through the woods, their conversation turned deeper. They talked about faith, something both of them held dear, though in slightly different ways. Maddie shared how she believed in a personal relationship with God that wasn't defined by strict rules and regulations, but by love, kindness, and understanding. Jason listened, intrigued. He wasn't ready to abandon his beliefs, but Maddie's perspective made him think about the ways in which his family's faith had often felt more like a list of do's and don'ts than a true connection with God. When they reached the top of a hill overlooking the valley, they sat down, taking in the view. The air was crisp, the autumn leaves vibrant with reds and oranges. Jason felt a strange mixture of peace and unease. He knew what he was doing would be frowned upon by his family, spending time alone with a girl, outside of courtship, without permission, but it didn't feel wrong. In fact, it felt right in a way he couldn't explain. Maddie looked over at him, her eyes searching his face. "What are you thinking about?" Jason hesitated, unsure how to put his thoughts into words. "I don't know. It's just, this feels different. I'm not used to doing things like this." "Like what?" "Hiking," she teased. Jason chuckled, shaking his head. "No, I mean, being here with you. Alone. It's not something I've ever done before. In my family, we're not really allowed to spend time with someone like this unless we're courting. And even then, there's always a chaperone." Maddie raised an eyebrow. "Do you think that's the only way to get to know someone? With someone watching your every move?" "No," Jason admitted, "but it's just how we've always done it. It's how I was raised." Maddie nodded, her expression softening. "I get that. But sometimes you have to figure out what works for you. Not just what works for your family or what you've been told is right. You've got to figure out your own path, Jason." Her words lingered in the air between them. Jason knew she was right, but it wasn't that simple. His family, his faith, they were everything to him. How could he walk away from that? Yet at the same time, how could he ignore the weight he felt right now, sitting here with Maddie, feeling more connected to her than he ever had with anyone else?